Psalm 22 is a fairly famous psalm. You probably remember it because Jesus cries it out while in agony on the cross. Verse 1, my God, why have you forsaken me?" And as you read through it, it vividly describes the events around Jesus' death and crucifixion. Verses 6 to 8 say, "But I am a worm and not a man, scorned by everyone, despised by people. All who see me mock me. They hurl insults, shaking their heads. He trusts in the Lord, they say. Let the Lord rescue him." In verses 16 to 18, it says, "Dogs surround me. A pack of villains encircles me. They pierce my hands and my feet. All my bones are on display. People stare and gloat over me. They divide my clothes among them and cast lots for my garments." These descriptions aptly fit what happened to Jesus on the cross. This is what many people call prophecy. But before Jesus, this psalm was written by David, a man of great faith, who at the moment of him writing cries out to God because he feels he's been forsaken. Verse 2 says he cries out to God, but there is no answer. And when we read these words or hear Jesus crying Psalm 22 out on the cross, we think, yeah, there are times where God completely and totally abandons us. If Jesus himself said it, it must be true, right? That God, at the worst times in our lives, turns his face away from us. We've even incorporated this into our theology. But is that biblical? Whenever you see someone quoting scripture in the Bible, even if it's just one small section of a passage, we are meant to think of the whole context of that passage. So when Jesus quotes Psalm 22 verse 1, yes, that's a cry of lament and agony where God seems distant. But even in Jesus' pain, he would have been well aware of the rest of what Psalm 22 says and wanted us to be aware of it. So what does the rest of Psalm 22 say? Interwoven in between these sections of suffering and abandonment come phrases like verses 3 to 5. "Yet you are enthroned as the Holy One. You are the one Israel praises. In you our ancestors put their trust. They trusted and you delivered them. They cried out to you and were saved. In you they trusted and were not put to shame." Or this from verses 22 and 24. "I will declare your name to my people. In the assembly I will praise you. For he, God, has not despised or scorned the suffering of the afflicted one. He has not hidden his face from him, but has listened to his cry for help." Yes, Psalm 22 is a psalm of lament, of despair. But those verses are not the end of the story. The end of the story says this in verse 31. He, God, has done it. So whether it's David or Jesus or you or me speaking these words in our pain, God's final word isn't abandonment. It's victory.